Hi everybody. I'm here with Norman Traversy, and we are here for part 2 actually on the interview.
In my world, which you're part of,
In our world, yeah.
In our world, presently I've done 2 things, 3, just this past couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. One, I've written to the Premier of Ontario and the Attorney General of Ontario a demand letter demanding that they have an order in council to investigate and rectify the fact that I was locked out of that courtroom last October. It's been more than 6 months. I was told that if I pursue this or keep pursuing it like every week or whatever, it's vexatious and they can throw it out. Okay. So I've waited, I've tried other avenues, I've tried to get rid of mandamus from the federal court. They said they've got no jurisdiction. I went to the Canadian Human Rights Commission here on Spark Street in person, and they said that the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms doesn't apply in the Ontario court system. Can you believe it? I've got it in writing. And I kept going back, and they refused to address it. I've gone to the Ontario Human Rights Commission, and they said that Justin Trudeau is above the law, which is in direct violation of the Magna Carta, which says no one's above the law. Exactly. The Queen's not above the law. Correct. And especially not a little twerp like him, he's not above the law. So now I've written to the Premier and I've written to the Attorney General saying you have to investigate. And I can go after them if they don't. I haven't had a reply except something, thank you for your email. I've also sent out a paper copy registered. So we'll see what happens with that. I think things are a lot different than last October. Last October, they locked me out of the courtroom because there was an election coming up. And if they let me into that courtroom, Trudeau would not have won, I guarantee it. So now everyone's fed up with this clown. You know, wash your hands, social distance, same thing every day, same message. And never mind how much I'm spending. I'm not going to tell you. And you have no right to ask because I've suspended Parliament, right? Yeah. So I think maybe the worm has turned. I'm not giving up. I'm still going ahead with this. So I will post. I did post on my GoFundMe. If anybody wants to see, go to justiceforcanada.ca. Okay. And that has a link to the GoFundMe. I posted the letter to all the donors and to Facebook and Twitter, a copy of this letter. So it's going to be hard to ignore. Thousands of people have got copies of it. Yeah. So that's one thing. The second thing is that the gun grab order in council, executive order, whatever he calls it, that is going for royal assent, which it will get. And can you explain what that is? What he's done was he did, I think it's called an order in council. It might be an executive order. Anyhow, it's him acting on his own. It's not voted on, okay? He's changed the Criminal Code of Canada without the people of Canada having a vote. And also, how was he able to do that? I think it might be under the Emergency Measures Act. So, he's also going to change Bill C-71. But, as I told you, I own Bill C-71.
You do, and we have a copy of it right
here. You just put your thumb over the address, you can hold it up to the camera. Is that 71 there? Yeah, but that's right? Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. I just want to cover That's an official copyright of Bill C-71.
And you own it.
It says right there, Norman Traversy, owner. And I put Ralph Goodale as the author. So I'm not claiming authorship, I'm claiming ownership. And what I did was I went on to the...
wow, I really need a manicure. here.
Oh my
This is
God.
quarantine
You'll
life.
have to redo this. I went on to the Ministry of Innovation and Industry website because I was upset.
Right.
Because the Canadian Standards Association copyrighted their regulations. And that is federal law. And there was a 4-year battle over that. And the person, PK Knight Publishing, lost that battle. Then last May it went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court allowed the federal court's ruling to stand that the CSA could copyright their regulations. So CSA is copyrighted federal law. And I thought, if they can do it, I can do it. So 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm looking for a bill that had gone through first, second, third reading, Senate rubber stamp, royal assent, but had not yet gone to the Queen's printer. So a law is not a law until it's printed. So I found one, and it was Bill C-71. And the website did a search, and it came up with no owner. So then I put myself as the owner, Ralph Goodale as the author, and I paid $50 on Visa. And this is 2 in the morning. And I got a receipt with maple leafs on it. Looked like that. And
June 3rd.
yeah, so I thought, yeah, because the ruling happened in May.
Yeah, 2018.
So I figured when I woke up in the morning I'd have my money back, or maybe the police at the door or something like that. No, about 10 days later, I got that document in the mail. I am the owner. There's a website where you can check to see if I'm the owner, and people do check, and I do own it. And
now, what leverage does that give you to help Canadians?
to help Canadians, I threw a spanner in the works, basically. I mean, I'm not going to make any money off this, but whenever I put in a claim, it's for 10.5 million, because that's what they gave Omar Khadr, right?
Okay.
So it's symbolic.
It's a nice symbol.
Yeah. I'm the first person, apparently, in the world to copyright a law.
Interesting.
Well, the CSA did,
Okay.
but they're not a person.
Right.
So I own the Firearms Act. Bill C-71 is the Firearms Act. It's also part of the Criminal Code of Canada. So I own a sizable chunk of the Criminal Code of Canada. If I wanted to, I could go after the company that publishes the Criminal Code for lawyers and judges and bill them.
What happens if you die?
I'll leave it to my kids.
So you can will this to somebody?
I believe so. It's my property.
I see. It's property.
Yeah, it's property. So Trudeau came out with that big edict grabbing all the guns, including Nerf guns, believe it or not. And he did.
Is that right? I didn't
Yeah,
realize.
he banned toys
Okay.
that look like assault weapons with handles.
Well, you could pick up a stick and it can look like.
It's an
It's
assault.
whatever you imagine, right?
It's an assault stick.
Right.
They should be banned. Anyways, he put that edict out, and that day I went online and I found that it had not been copyrighted, no
Okay.
owner, and I bought that.
And that's this one here.
Yeah, you want to show that one?
There's no nothing to cover up on this one. Right?
Yeah, there is, but that's okay. No, it doesn't have my address on there.
We're good.
Okay, there you go. I'm the owner, and Justin Trudeau is the author.
I'm not sure if that's focusing
That's okay.
or not, but yeah.
Anyhow, it's legit.
Yeah.
Look, criminal code right there.
Code, PC 2020-298, literary, Norman Traversy, author Justin Trudeau. May 4th, my birthday, by the way.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Interesting. Innovation, Science, and Economic Development Canada.
So, is there a number there? Anyone can check to see.
Yeah, the number,
It's
the
legit.
registration number is 1169026. So there you go, and you are the owner of this
Now, yesterday, if you can pull up my demand letter,
Yeah.
the cease and desist letter.
Yes.
See, I am busy.
You are a busy man.
That's my cease and desist letter to the Governor General, the Prime Minister, and the Clerk of the Privy Council, telling them to destroy any copies that they have and to compensate me $10.5 million for using my property, and we'll see where that goes. If anybody out there is a lawyer or even paralegal, I could use some help, because I do have a lot of help from other people. I'm not doing this myself. I've got all kinds of people, including you, that are helping, and but I don't have a lawyer, because for some reason lawyers are all about money.
Yes, they are. Hopefully there's some pro bono interest out there.
We need some if anybody wants to become famous as a lawyer, this can happen. I mean, what a case. If there are any law students that want to help in drafting things or researching, we could use the help. And I'm saying we because I'm part of a network now of people around the world. I got people in Russia that I'm in touch with. I got an email the night before I went to court last year from what's his title? Police superintendent in Queensland, Australia, saying good luck tomorrow, Norman. You know, we're all watching what you're doing.
Interesting.
Yeah. The person that does my website said there's been a ton of hits from Hong Kong. They're all interested because they're ex-Commonwealth, right? Or they... Right. So a lot of people are watching what's going on.
A lot of things. There's a lot of things in the world going on. Racism is an interesting subject right now.
You know what? I've only ever met one racist in my entire life. I'm 64 years old. And the only racist I ever met was the chief of training for the Mississauga Fire Department.
Really?
He's the only racist I ever met.
As an ex-fireman that you are.
Yeah, I'm an ex-firefighter.
Would you say ex or always a firefighter?
Yeah, you're always a firefighter because you're trained.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was a first aid instructor, a CPR instructor, a DFID instructor. And, you know, you keep a lot of those skills.
Absolutely,
So also swore an oath. It's one of those jobs you swear an oath.
Right, yes.
And that doesn't go away either. So.
Well, we're all very grateful for all the firefighters in the world, actually.
Yeah, it's a heck of a job.
Yes.
I wouldn't do it again.
No way.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I was working for an accounting firm.
Before?
Yeah, before.
Oh, okay.
Coopers and Lybrand,
wow.
chartered accountants, and they were going to pay for my training and continue my salary, and I said thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to be a fireman.
Yeah, time for everything in life, right?
Yeah. Well, I've been not thrust, but I've been put in this strange position, just from a series of events, and things just keep happening for me in a good way. In a good way, including meeting you. And during the Duplessis years, from the 30s to the 50s, and I think right up to the 70s, they had child slavery in Quebec. Those kids were, the federal government was giving something like 75 cents a day to these schools and orphanages to take care of the kids. But if the kid was mentally unstable or had a mental problem, they got $2.50 a day. So overnight, all these schools became hospitals, mental sanatoriums, and they put bars on the windows, and the kids were locked in the rooms.
And you become a product of your environment, even if you weren't.
And they worked all day.
They didn't go to school. They didn't learn to read and write. And that's slavery. So we can't look down our noses at the Americans. They lost 500,000 men.
In my view, we're all in enslavement. and we're all answering to someone or somehow or something, and we're very limited in what our freedom is, and liberty is a whole other thing altogether. So very interesting times with having to question our human rights and our liberties and our freedoms and all of these things.
Another hero of mine is Ayn Rand. Have you read much of Ayn Rand?
You told me a little bit.
Yeah, and she said, no one can grant you any rights.
Yeah.
They can only take them away.
Yeah.
You're born with your
Absolutely.
rights. You're born with all the rights you're ever going to get, and they can be taken away, but they can't be granted.
We just should not let them take them away.
That's right.
This is the important part.
I keep quoting Edmund Burke.
Right.
The only thing necessary for evil to prosper is for good men to do nothing.
Is there anything you want to add or would like to say before we end this?
Yes.
Okay.
The USMCA, United States, Mexico, and Canada Treaty is coming into effect on July 1st, I believe.
Okay.
And that treaty is replacing the Free Trade Treaty and NAFTA. And part of that treaty, Section 27.5, states that none of those countries will trade with any other country that has corruption. That, corrupt, like China.
Right.
And that they are obliged by that treaty, Section 27.5, to investigate any corruption. So, on July 1st, I'm going to be at Parliament Hill. People that I know have told me they expect 5,000 people there.
But interestingly enough, Canada Day is canceled. Canada Day celebrations are canceled because of COVID. Yet the protests are allowed, which is in favor to what you're doing. But how interesting is that?
Isn't it? And by the way, it's Dominion Day.
Okay. Dominion Day.
Yeah, it was the first Trudeau that changed it to so-called Canada Day. So I got an email just this morning. Do you know where there's a cheap motel where we can stay? We're coming for Dominion Day.
Okay.
And anyways, we're gonna meet there. There's gonna be a bunch of people with videos. Hopefully you'll be there. And then we're going to march to the American Embassy.
Right.
And we're drafting up. I've got some ex-RCMP that are working on this. We have literally thousands of ex-RCMP that are really upset. And they're helping. And it kind of gets funneled through me because I can get stuff to Donald Trump. I'm one step away from him reading something.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, so, if
you're second to Donald Trump. Yeah. Your contact.
I'm in touch with a retired 2-star general.
Right.
Who regularly advises Trump, and he meets with Trump occasionally, and he did give Donald Trump a 2-page précis that I wrote about money laundering in Canada and the Trudeau Foundation, and he watched him read it. So he read my little précis, which for me is a huge deal, that I can actually get something to him. I'm also in touch with Donald Trump Jr., and he can get stuff to his dad if he thinks it's important.
So are you a QAnon fan?
Yes.
Okay.
I know someone who knows who they are, and they're military.
Right.
And some of them are NSA as well.
I've heard this. I mean, I can't confirm it, but I have heard this as well.
Yeah. And that's interesting. So we're going to, I want the cops, the retired cops, to do it upright. So it looks like a police document that they would hand to a judge.
Right.
This person's dirty. So when it's done, the sooner the better. I'm not the one that's, I put 3 basic categories: organized pedophilia, human trafficking, and money laundering. So,
And, you know, a lot of people don't understand the pedophilia, human trafficking, what that really means, the deeper rabbit holes that are attached to this, and they're deep. And I truly think that this is very much part of the awakening, and
it is.
very deep, and
It is.
it's
So I've got one person who's a computer genius, and he was demonstrating software to a city police department. And during the demonstration, his computer hacked into their computer and downloaded the names and addresses of all the known pedophiles in North America.
oh my
And
goodness.
he's got that. He's currently on the run from the police. He has released 4 names, and each one of those judges retired that day. They resigned that
Seen
day.
a lot of that lately.
Yes, so there's that. So he is working on that along with other people. Then with the human trafficking, there are other people working on that. And then the money laundering, I'm working on that because I know some of what's been going on with these foundations, etc. And we want to have it done and looking like an official document. So then we're going to march to the American Embassy. We're going to call the day before so that someone will come out to greet us. And we're not protesting, we're just gathering. And we'll hand the document over to them and say, you know, ball's in your court. So that should be a historic day when that happens.
Absolutely.
And it's going to happen. They can't stop us from standing outside of the American Embassy.
Well, you know, all the power to your endeavors and what you're doing. I mean, it's your volition, it's something in you. We all get motivated by what comes through ourselves individually, and this is yours. And
I get motivated by injustice.
right.
That really gets me going.
Sure.
It's interesting in that we're seeing what a lot of people are really like. And
Yes.
this is how Nazi Germany happened.
Yes.
I mean, the Germans had the highest culture. They had Mozart, they had Beethoven, they had Freud.
Sure.
And, you know, the technology was ahead of anybody in the world. And then within years, they became barbarians. And
Well,
it didn't
they-
take much.
yeah.
It didn't take much.
All by design, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what a pleasure to have such an interesting conversation with you.
Thank you.
But these are the times, aren't they? Please say your website again and your GoFundMe page so the viewers can hear.
Okay, the website is justiceforcanada.ca, all one word, lowercase, and there is a link on there to the GoFundMe page. There are also a number of PDFs of documents like those. The wanted poster will be going up soon. Did you flash that one?
I didn't. Well, they can see that.
Okay,
Yeah.
they can see it. And it's Justice for Trudeau and SNC Lavalin is the GoFundMe page. And any money that's donated to that page goes only to going after Trudeau. Nothing else.
Okay.
But I'll buy printer ink with it, you know, something like that. Or if I have to make a trip, I'll do that.
Okay.
Or court expenses. I haven't spent any of the money on lawyers because they'll slurp up whatever money's in there in no time.
Yes.
That's what they do. So if there are any lawyers that want to work pro bono, that would be fantastic. And it would also make their career, because what bigger case can you have in Canada right now than what's going on? And let's do it. Get her done.
Get her done. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been
Thank
a
you.
pleasure to do this with you today.
Thank you. It
Yeah.
was a pleasure.
Thank
you
you.
very much.